everyone, I'm Morgan, and today I wanted to talk to you about 4 new releases I've read recently. I know I did one of these just a few days ago, but actually I had filmed it for quite a while, so I have a lot of books I still need to talk to you about. Today we're going to talk about new releases that I've read recently. I have 4 as usual, and I'm going to try to do this from the one I like the least to the one I like the most. But honestly, I loved every single one of these. They were all great, and I think I'm going to add them to my favorites list for this year for sure, because I adored them. So let me talk to you about them. The first one I wanted to talk about is Sharks in the Time of Saviors by Kawai Washburn. This one actually had an arc of, so it's been some time that I've read it, but I got myself a copy because I really liked it. And this one follows a family where we have this boy, at first anyway, he's a boy called Noah. And in the beginning of the book, when he is a kid, he falls in the water while they're on a boat, and he is saved by sharks, which obviously is pretty uncommon, and it becomes a huge thing. People think that he was chosen by the gods of Hawaii, because this family lives in Hawaii, and they become very famous, and as they were pretty poor at first, they used this to get a bit of money from people who don't know better. And so Noah starts helping these people because he does have some powers, but he's not sure he understands them, and it's pretty hard on him because he feels alone. He doesn't feel like anyone understands him, and so it's about him, but it's also about the other people in this family. He has a younger brother and a younger sister, and it's about them as well as the parents. Overall, really enjoyed this book. I thought it was nice to see all of the characters and their experiences and perspectives, because obviously the younger siblings were struggling with being the less interesting ones of the family, because everyone always wanted to talk about Noah because he's this huge famous person on the island where they're just trying to be normal, and even though they're doing everything right, it doesn't feel like they're doing enough ever. They feel like their parents don't love them enough, and there are also some bits about sexuality, because his sister is struggling with liking girls because she doesn't know how people are going to take this. She's trying to come out, and it's about them growing up. We follow them throughout most of their lives, and so much of this book is extremely intense, and some of it I really didn't like, because actually the bits that are written from the younger brother's perspective are written as though he has some kind of accent, like, you know, he talks in a weird way, and it gets some getting used to. And the problem is, as we change perspectives, I was like trying really hard to get used to it, and then as soon as I got used to it, we changed perspectives again, so that was a bit annoying. And some sex scenes also bothered me a little bit, because there were some pretty crude jokes. Like, I don't mind these kind of jokes, but I don't know, the way he wrote them kind of irked me. So there were little things that bothered me, but overall I think this book was really intense and emotional, and I really liked it. The writing was really good, so I would really recommend this. I don't think I'm going to forget it anytime soon. It just, I don't know, as I said, some bits I didn't really like, but yet I couldn't stop reading. I really wanted to know what was happening. It was just really intense, all of their stories and how their lives starts to unravel at some point and they're trying to figure things out. It's really relatable, I guess, and yeah, I really liked it. Then I want to talk about Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. This one came out very recently and I really enjoyed it. This follows two sisters whose father dies at the beginning of the book, and they don't know they're sisters, they don't know the other one exists, and they start to find out about each other after so their father's death. And at first we follow them, so each of their perspective. One lives in the Dominican Republic and the other one lives in New York, so they have never crossed paths, and we follow them trying to deal with the grief of having lost their dad, and so one still has her mother while the other one has also lost her mother years before, so she lives with one of her aunts. No, it's not her aunt really, it's someone who takes care of her. She has just thought of her as her aunt, I think, for years, and it's nice to see how different they are as people, but also really similar, and them trying to accept the fact that their father had another life, and also the one who still has her mother hated that her husband had someone else. He knew that this other girl existed, but she hadn't told her daughter. It was very hard on everyone involved, and it's just them trying to come to terms and eventually meeting, as you can expect. And again, very emotional and beautiful. I listened to this one on audiobook, and as usual Elizabeth Acevedo narrates it, but there's also another narrator narrating the other perspective, and both of them made a great job. This is again written in verse as all of Acevedo's books, so I thought it was really beautiful, nice to listen to, and I couldn't stop listening. It was amazing. Next is Network Effects by Martha Wells, the 5th book in the Murderbot Diaries and the first full book in the series. I love this one again so much. I love Murderbot as a character. I've obviously read every single book in the series, and this is now the 5th one. If you don't know, the Murderbot Diaries is about this robot Murderbot who is supposed to take care of humans. He does security for them, and originally he's controlled by the state. He has some kind of module in his head that is controlling him, but he has found a way to go beyond that, and so he's trying to do things by himself, which is illegal, but people are trying to help him. And basically the 5th book, without telling you too much, is pretty similar to all of the books actually, because it has the same structure. So he has to take care of a bunch of humans who are going on an adventure, well, not an adventure, but just on a mission, and he has to protect them, but as usual something goes wrong and he has to find a way to save them. They're pretty much they're very similar, like each of the books in the series, but there are little things that differ. So we meet different characters, and here in the 5th book we actually see a character again from the 2nd book, I think it was, Art. He's a ship and he's very sarcastic and funny, and it's really nice to see him again with Murderbot. Both of them really like each other, though it's hard for them to express it. Murderbot is a very relatable character and I love him so much. So this book I would just highly recommend, and this series in general. So easy to read and fast-paced as well. And this one, well, is a full novel, unlike the other ones which were novellas, but it didn't feel too long at all. It just felt like there was a bigger issue, so that's why the book was longer, but it's, as I said, pretty much the same plot as the other ones, just with a lot more issues that they're trying to fix. So it takes a lot of time to find a way to solve all of that, but they find a way eventually, as they always do. So yeah, I was so happy to get back into this series, and it was great. And the last book I want to mention is Writers and Lovers by Lily King. Again, I listened to this one on audiobook, and I loved the audiobook narrator. She was just amazing, and the story overall I really enjoyed. It follows this young woman who is working as a waitress, but she's also trying to be a writer. I mean, she is writing some stories, but as of now she's not sure if she wants to publish them, if they're good enough. She's not sure of the idea that she has for a book. So I think this book is just the kind of book that you would really enjoy if you also are really interested in writing, because she talks a lot about that. And also she talks about grief, because in the beginning of the book her mother has died not too long before, very suddenly, so she's trying to cope with her death, and it's about that, about her writing, as I said, and also just about her emotions. Has started to date two men at the same time because she can't really choose between the two of them, and though I don't like people who do that, you still really understand why she's doing it, because both of these men really bring something to her. And this book reminded me a lot of Normal People by Sally Rooney, in that it focused a lot on relationships and feelings. Though while Normal People focused on two characters, this only focused about one perspective, but I thought it had some similar themes, and I just really liked Normal People as well as this one. It was just exactly my thing. The writing was beautiful, but just so easy to go through, and I like this kind of sparse writing. And as I said, the narrator was amazing, so I'm so happy I listened to the audiobook. Though I did have an arc that I didn't get to before it came out. Whatever, it's fine. I'm still really happy because the audiobook was so good. Yeah, just highly recommend this book if you like stuff about feelings and that kind of thing. Yeah, it was beautiful, and it made me want to write a lot more. I've been wanting to write for so long, but I never know if it's going to be any good, and she just talks about that. And she has a lot of friends who also are writers, and she starts to date one guy who is actually a famous writer, and he is very he's very pretentious, and I don't know, it's a really interesting book, and I think you should check it out. It's amazing. But that's all for me. Thank you for watching. Please tell me if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them, or if you want to read them now after hearing me talk about them. So I'd love to know. But that's all for me. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon in another video. Goodbye! Dream I know, deep up my feelings feel